So I first thought about being a priest when I was in about second grade. A new priest came to our parish, and he was a very inspirational kind of guy. He showed his love for the priesthood in a real way that helped me to see that there was something more to this than just the guy who dresses differently. And because of that, I was able to start to think about what I wanted to do later on. And as a second grader, it's not a terribly in-depth thought process at the time, but it started as a springboard for me later in life to be able to say that I was thinking about it. I want to be a priest now because I want to bring the love of God to I think one thing we're missing in our world pretty considerably today is the dignity that is afforded to human persons, and I think the church has the greatest instrument of bestowing that dignity, which is an understanding of the person through the Catholic lens, through a lens which shows the person as good, ultimately good, finally good, by existence, and we can see the dignity of all persons, and all of that is fueled by a love of the Eucharist. My big love. The reason I want to be a priest is the Eucharist.
Next question. But any ministries that you're particularly excited about in addition to delivering the sacraments?
I really am excited about being able to be the minister of the Sacrament of Reconciliation, most especially, as well as the Sacrament of the Eucharist. Both of these sacraments in the Church are fundamentally ones of mercy. Christ gives us his whole self in the Eucharist, and we give our whole self to Christ to be reformed in the Sacrament of Reconciliation. And as such, those are both huge motivations in my life as a Christian man, and huge motivations in my life as a seminarian, and hopefully later on as a priest.
What do you find most encouraging or...
Definitely for the brotherhood of the seminary life. It's very natural. It just sort of happens. It's something that comes about through together all the time. You find the guys that really encourage you, and you stick together through thick and thin. They help you, you help them. It's really a beautiful thing. And I would say right on par with that is having a chapel in the same building that I live. There's no more beautiful way to end the night and to begin the day than to be able to spend some time with the Lord Jesus just as you are, ready for bed, in a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt, going to the chapel and seeing Jesus in the tabernacle. There's no greater gift.
What has surprised you about seminary life or discernment?
What surprised me is that there is no seminarian model. There's no cookie cutter. There's no specific person you have to be. Always worried throughout high school, as soon as I was sure that I was going to go to seminary out of high school, I was always worried that I wouldn't fit in, that I'd have to be a different person, that I'd have to change my hobbies, my sense of humor, to do things that make me tick, and that's just not the case. The seminary takes all kinds. One of my priest friends always likes to say that it's a big church. It's kind of that whole big tent atmosphere. There are definite things that are absolute and we all believe, but then personalities can run rampant in either direction, and it's really a beautiful kind of spirit in the house of formation when you're able to see all these come together.
So how have you grown in your knowledge and relationship with God, and how have you grown in your knowledge and relationship of self?
I have grown in my knowledge of God considerably through my prayer life. When I entered, my prayer life was really not something to be spoken about. It was pretty low level. I prayed, but seminary has forced me in a really good way to understand prayer life, to expand that prayer life, and to spend more time just speaking to Jesus Christ, just living and basking in his light as I sit in front of the tabernacle. That's a whole new world that I never would have imagined before I entered, and it really has contributed to my understanding of self. It's helped me to realize that Christ, in the Eucharist most especially, is the fount of love that satisfies my heart. And the only satisfaction for my heart is that love that Christ can give. And in the vocation of the priesthood, there's such an absolute and total gift of self in that love and reciprocity thereof that there's no other vocation in this world and in this church that could satisfy that longing in my heart.
What else do you think people should know about discernment, about seminary, about what you're doing, about you in general? What else would you like to share with the world?
I think it's a good thing for people to know. I think a good thing for people to know is that we are just regular guys in a real way. We're just striving for something that's a little different than you might see on a daily basis. But we struggle. We're not perfect. We have plenty of problems, and we're working on all of them, hopefully. But to be patient with seminarians and priests, and also to engage with us. We want to talk to you guys. We want to talk to the people of God. We want to talk to parishioners. We want to answer your questions. We want to know about you. So please come up to us and say hello. Tell us about your life. We want to hear about it.